Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Hi, I'm Dr. Iman Al-Rashed from the University of Basra, Faculty of Arts, Department of Translation. Hi my dear students, today we will start talking about subordinate conjunctions. It's a pretty complicated topic because in order to understand subordinate conjunctions you have to understand the difference between an independent clause and a dependent clause. The role of a subordinate conjunction is to join an independent clause and a dependent clause to form complex sentence. بمعنى أنها تستخدم هذه النوع من أدوات الربط لتكوين complex sentences. And of course you know what is the difference between independent clause and a dependent clause because we explained that in our previous lectures. Well, let's back up again. What is a clause? A clause is a group of words that includes subject and verb. Now, and what are the types of clauses? We have two types of clauses. An independent clause is a clause that includes subject and verb. It expresses complete thought and it is complete sentence. For example, he is sick. A dependent clause is a clause that includes subject and verb, but it doesn't express a complete thought. For example, because he is sick. واضح من المثال إنه this is not a complete thought. الفكرة غير مكتملة، الجملة غير مكتملة. That's why ولذلك we can say that all sentences are clauses, but be careful, not all clauses are sentences. Now we need to understand what is a subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunctions are used to join two parts of complex sentences, independent clauses to dependent clauses. They are used in complex sentences. We need to be able to answer this question. In this table you can see a table for common subordinating conjunctions. Now we will start with the first type, subordinating conjunction of time. In this list we have after, as long as, before, since, until, when, whenever, and while. Let us see some examples. When and while. When we were in Greece, we went to as many islands as possible. They were talking while the teacher was explaining the activity. You can see here that we are using when at the beginning of our sentence. استخدمنا subordinate conjunction في بداية السنتنس والآن استخدمناها في وسط الجملة. As soon as we hear any news we'll call you. Before, after and until, she'll pick you up before she comes here. After she comes here she'll pick you up. I'm going to wait until the January sales start to buy a new jacket. لاحظ الآن استخدام subordinate conjunction. استخدمنا before في وسط السنتنس، استخدمنا after في البداية، استخدمنا until في وسط الجملة. فممكن استخدامات subordinate conjunctions تتنوع ما بين بداية ووسط الجملة. Since, he's been back to the office a few times since he retired. لاحظ since استخدمناها للدلالة على time، للدلالة على زمن. They haven't received any junk mail since they've moved house. Now, since لابد أن ننتبه في استخدامها، لابد نكون حريصين جدا. You need to be very careful in using since. Now, since لاحظ الآن هاي sentence. We use since to refer back to previous point in time. ممكن تستخدم للدلالة على زمن، لكن هي لا تستخدم كأداة رابط. مثال على ذلك في this sentence. It was the band's first live performance since May 1990. فهنا استخدمت since مع الديت للدلالة على الزمن، لكن لم تستخدم كأداة رابط. We also use since as a subordinate conjunction to introduce a clause. لكن كيف نفرق ما بين الحالتين؟ في الحالتين الحالة الأولى لما تستخدم للزمن هي لا ترفق أو لا تستخدم مع clause. بينما في حال استخدامها كسubordinate conjunction هي تستخدم مع clause. For example, it's so long since I saw them. لاحظ الآن since. After since we have a clause, we have subject and we have verb. And this, if you ask what type of clause we are using here, شنو نوع الكلوز اللي استخدمنا؟ أكيد here we will say that this is a dependent clause. He's been back to the office a few times since he retired. الآن استخدمنا since هنا أيضا في كأداة ربط since مع clause. So since he retired لاحظ we have subject and we have verb. فالآن هنا في ال two examples هي استخدمت كsubordinate conjunction. الآن ننتقل إلى النوع الثاني من subordinating conjunctions. Here we will talk about subordinating conjunctions of reason. And this is very easy because we have only two. We have because and since. لكن ننتبه أنه since الآن تستخدم للدلالة على السبب وليس الزمن. نلاحظ مع بعض examples. More and more people are moving to the suburbs because the cost of living in cities is becoming very expensive. لاحظ استخدمنا because وإجا بعدها dependent clause. فالآن هي subordinate conjunction of reason. Because the cost of living in cities is becoming very expensive, more and more people are moving to the suburbs. الآن استخدمنا because في بداية السنتنس بداية الجملة. في البداية استخدمناها في الوسط، ومثل ما قلنا في السابق subordinate conjunctions يتنوع استخدامها ما بين بداية ووسط الجملة حسب احتياج المعنى وحسب تنوع الأسلوب أيضا. لاحظ الآن لما استخدمها في وسط الجملة أحتاج فقط full stop at the end of my sentence, while if I use it at the beginning لكن لو استخدمتها في البداية أنا راح أستخدم بعد نهاية الكلوز أستخدم comma مثل ما موجود عندي في المثال الثاني. Now expressing reason. Again still we are with reason, but now we will change because and we will use instead of it we will use since. More and more people are moving to the suburbs because the cost of living in cities is becoming very expensive. لاحظ الآن راح نغيرها إلى since. Since the cost of living in cities is becoming very expensive, more and more people are moving to the suburbs. The clause that starts with since explains why more people are moving to the suburbs. لاحظ الآن استخدمنا clause في مع أداة الربط since للدلالة على السبب. And here we are using it at the beginning of our sentence. لاحظ أنه أنت now here in order to be let us say sure that we are using since for reason حتى أتأكد أني استخدمت since للدلالة على reason I can simply test my sentence by using because. ممكن أختبر الجملة بأن أستخدم because and then I'll use since instead of because. So I can say because the cost of living in cities is becoming very expensive, I'll say since the cost of living in cities is becoming very expensive, as if I'm saying why more and more people are moving to the suburbs. And here we can test our sentences and confirm that we are using since now here for reason and not for time. This was the first part of subordinate conjunctions, and in this lecture we talked about two types of subordinating conjunctions. We talked about subordinating conjunctions of time and subordinating conjunctions of reason. Thank you so much, and we will continue with part 2.